Welcome to Exposure TV. I'm your host, Dvdj Rain, and my guest today is artist, producer, and engineer, Fifth Child. So when we come back, we're going to find out just a little bit more about him. Welcome back to Exposure TV. I'm your host, Dvdj Rain, and I'm sitting here with Fifth Child. Fifth Child, how are you doing?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Good, man. I'm glad to have you on the show today. Before we kind of get into the things that you have going on, tell me a little bit about actually who makes up Fifth Child as an artist, producer, and some of the many hats that you wear.
Okay. I was I'm 26 years old, born in Redondo Beach, California, but I've been living in Jackson since I was about 2 or 3 years old, so I just claimed Jackson. Went to Murrah High School, graduated from there, went to Loyola University in New Orleans, and majored in PR, minored in music business. And at Loyola well, right before I went to Loyola was really when I became like a true recording artist. I had been recording like on cassette tapes and everything with my brother before then, but right around the age of 17 was really when I started taking it seriously and became a true recording artist.
So, like around that time, around that age, what was it that kind of propelled you in that direction to say, all right, this is kind of what I want to do, professionally?
Well, like I said, I wrote my first song when I was 11 years old, and then I would just find my favorite hip hop songs, and I'd be like, okay, well, if I had a guest feature on this song, what would I say,
Right.
And so that's how I really started writing, and my brother was really who influenced me to start writing, because he was rapping at the time, and he does again now, but so I always looked up to him. But then when I was about, I don't know, maybe 15 years old or 16, he quit. He just, stopped doing it altogether. And so I was like, well, dang, you're the reason why I started. So when he quit, that's when I was like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now, you know what I'm saying? Because this is like my segue into hip-hop, through him. So, but I met a really good friend of mine in 10th grade, and we started making music together, and from then that's really when I started taking it seriously again. So we had really, really cheap recording equipment. I mean, like the computer mic,
Right.
The mic that comes in, like sound recorder on the computer, you know what I'm saying? So it was like all ground level at first, but the passion was always there, the writing was always there, and yeah, the music was always in me. So
Now, one thing I do find like really, really impressive about you and your career so far is the number of solo albums that you have out. And how many is that?
The new one will make 6.
6.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do the first one, the first album?
The first album, I made it because I wanted an album that I could just play all the way through. I made it really for myself to listen to. So I mean, I was buying a lot of CDs at the time. We're talking like 2005. Is that right? Yeah. January 2005 was when the first album was released, and so I mean, you got to think like Jay-Z was my favorite rapper, and he had quit in 2003, after the Black album, and it was like just not a really, really great time in hip hop, around '05, and so. So I wanted to make some music a CD that I could play all the way through, and I liked the stuff that I wrote, so I made my album for me, But eventually, more people wanted to hear it. I started passing around to some friends at church, and that's it. Pretty much went from there.
So what was like the motivation behind that first? I mean, because like your first big project like that can be. I mean that's. I'm sure you remember that just like you remember stuff that goes on like yesterday.
Yes, well, yes and no, you know, because it didn't really feel like the first one because remember I had been making music for,
Right.
you know, some time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, leading up to that, you know, just like uh, my brother and I would rap over mixtape beats and stuff, you know, like I said, we were recording on the cassette tapes.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's like a training ground for, you know,
Right.
for an artist because if you mess up, there's no, you know, punch-ins, there's no nothing. If we're rapping together on a song and one of us messes up, we have to rewind the tape and
Right.
start all the way back over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that really, really helped me as a recording artist as far as like sticking stuff the first time. And so when I actually put together this collection of music, it was my first official solo album, but I had done, you know, I had done projects before then though.
I got you. Now, you know, going back to saying your brother was, you know, a big influence, and you know, I read that, you know, you have the influence, you know, with Jay-Z, Outkast, even T.I. Who can you say is kind of dominates the influence on you as far as like your music goes and style?
Well, do you just mean hip hop? Because as far as hip hop, those are my biggest influences. But
No, in general, period.
I would have to really give a lot of props to Curtis Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's one artist as far as like black love and self love and social consciousness. Like I got all of that out of Curtis Mayfield's music.
I got you.
Yeah, I was a really, really big fan of his.
So now, you know, now that you're working on your sixth album, kind of give us an idea of exactly what you do besides being an artist, because I know like you're a producer and among other things.
Right. Yeah. So, wait, I don't understand the question.
No, that's fine. You know, like you're an artist and you're a producer and you're also a sound engineer. Is there anything else that you dabble in, as far as entertainment goes?
As far as entertainment, no. I will edit my own like promo videos if I absolutely have to. Most of the stuff besides just writing, you know, which I was going to do anyway, everything else was kind of out of necessity. Like as far as the production and the engineering, you know, I didn't have the money to, you know, to pay producers, and plus I was always really drawn to producers, and I really always liked beats, and I was always interested in them and like sampling and stuff. So I just got into it from that, and also like I said, because I couldn't buy beats from anybody else, and I had to learn how to record myself. So yeah. That's how I ended up doing it for other
okay,
people.
that was my next question. So
Right.
you were kind of self-taught on the production side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you working on right now? I know it's the sixth album. What's the name of that album?
The name of the new project is Love Letters and Suicide Notes.
Love Letters and Suicide Notes. How long have you been working on that?
Not that long. Maybe about 3 or 4 months.
Now, how does it differ from like your previous projects that you putting out?
This is my baby. Like really, like I love it. As far as the writing process, I started with the production, you know, all together. Like I normally start, you know, I normally make the beats first, but with this project, everything was much more focused. I knew from the get, I already knew what the title was going to be. I knew exactly the types of instrumentals that I wanted to make. Everything, I wanted the whole album to have a certain kind of mood, you know, because before I had been so used to just write some verses, write some hooks, you know, put on the beat and be done with it. But this time it's much more caretaking in everything. I added bridges. I wanted it to be a lot more musical. So I mean, there's a lot of live instrumentation on the album. I went back and tweaked everything, just taking more care into the entire project as a whole, and even the marketing afterwards. You know, instead of just making songs and then a week before I release it, say, hey everybody, I'm about to put an album out next week, here you go. Like I had a 7-week marketing strategy leading up to this album release. That's, you know, it's all inclusive and all very calculated.
Nice.
Much more than anything.
Well, I'm going to hear more about that. We're going to take a small break
Okay.
to run out of time, but I do want to hear more about that and some of the other stuff that you have going on. Make sure that you stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Fifth Child.
Exposure TV is produced by Peaches, host and producer of On Location TV.
Deftel DJs.
Deftel DJs.
For more inquiries on today's guest, Fifth Child, a recording artist, producer, and audio engineer, email fifthchildmusic@gmail.com or chat with him on Twitter @fifthchildmusic.
Welcome back to Exposure TV. I'm sitting here with Fifth Child, and we were just talking about album number 6. Tell me the name again of the album and kind of the origin of that.
Sure. Well, the title of the album is Love Letters and Suicide Notes. And it's based on these 3 themes. The first one is that I feel like those are the 2 most intense types of writing. And when someone sends them to a recipient with the intent of going through with it, then there's no turning back. Like, you can't take your love away from somebody if you really feel that way. And secondly, you know, if you commit suicide, you know, it's over. So there's no turning back, you know. That's the first principle. The second one is, like, I'm a Gemini, and I have these Gemini mood swings about once a month where, you know, I'll be feeling on top of the world, you know, everything with music. I just be really inspired, and, you know, people are really responding well to the music. And then just out of nowhere, one day out of a month, I just get really ridiculously discouraged. You know, I may see a video on MTV Jams of a terrible artist, and I'm like, man, like, I feel like I'm working so hard to get to this point, and, you know, and not even out of jealousy, but just, you know, I just want more. You know, I want my music to catch on, and I just get really discouraged to the point where I want to quit.
Right.
And like I said, that happens once a month, and then it's gone. But, you know,
I mean, I think that happens with a lot of them, that frustration.
Yeah.
And, you know, you seem to be doing a really well job of managing that, you know, that frustration, because we all get it, and we're all going to go through it.
Yeah, it comes out in my music, but not too much in my interactions with people. But if you listen to the music, it's definitely there. And so the third principle, though, is the entire album takes a 3-part narrative approach. You know, it's all based around this 3-part narrative, where it starts off with a guy who's in love with this girl, and she breaks his heart. So, you know, just like in any other situation now, every woman has to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? He turns into a heartbreaker. He turns, you know, he just treats women however, because, you know, he felt like he was done wrong. And so this is his act of bitterness. This is how, you know, his expression of it. And so he basically lives HOE-ish, you know. Right. And so then after all that, he meets a girl that he actually falls in love with again, and wants to marry this girl, you know what I'm saying? But now he has to answer for his past. He has to answer for the reckless past that he had, you know. And so in order for him to get married to her, the pimp in him has to die. So the last song in the of the album is actually called R.I.P. to the Pimp, where it actually walks you through those 3 different stages in this person's life. And at the end, he finds his forever, and before he can marry this girl, when he says his I do's, that the pimp in him has to die or commit suicide.
That's pretty deep right there. Well, I mean, like, where did that inspiration come from? I mean, from that, I mean, that's that whole story.
Man, it's really God. I'm gonna just be honest with you, because like I said, I had the title just came to me one day. You know, and the entire concept of how I wanted to make the music. I was watching the Tribe Called Quest documentary, Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and just the way Q-Tip sampled and the type of beats that he chose, and then also listening to a lot of Goody Mob Soul Food and Outkast, ATLians. There was a certain warmth of all the mixes, you know. There was like density, and I'm just talking about the sound quality. So sonically, you know, I knew I wanted to capture that sound of like 1994. You know what I'm saying, with the types of drums I use and everything. And so that was the first thing that came to me, and I knew the title. I knew the sonically how I wanted it to come out. And just the more I wrote and the more I prayed on it and the more I lived, the concept of the album started to unravel, you know, because I can't say that I knew all that stuff about the album when I first thought of the title, but the more I wrote it all just, you know, unfolded before me. Yeah, everything fell into place.
So is there a track on the album that you can say that's your favorite?
My favorite song on the album right now, you know, because it'll change from week to week, but my favorite one right now is a track called Inspired. And the reason I love it so much, I love the beat a lot, you know, and I added a lot of background vocals on it. You know, that's one thing that I hadn't done a whole lot of beforehand. You know, because normally when I work on albums, I'm by myself. You know, so I'm doing all the beats, all the all the production, all the recording. You know, I'm just doing all that stuff by myself. But this time, I knew I wanted to make it more musical, and rather than trying to duplicate that stuff with just MIDI software instruments, I wanted to get live instrumentation. I wanted to get real people to sing background vocals. So there's a lot of background vocals on the track, and I even have a friend of mine from New Orleans to play the flute on the track, a girl named Low Key. So
nice.
Yeah.
Now going back to the whole marketing strategy of it, you said it was what, 7-week marketing strategy?
Yeah.
You know, what did that entail as far as like, you know, getting out there? Was it through social media or? I
almost kind of don't want to say it.
Okay, that's fine. I understand that. I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. Well, let's go to who can you say right now is probably like some of your favorite artists?
I'm a really big fan of Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
I'm a really big fan of Kendrick Lamar. And really everybody in his camp, the Black Hippie camp, TDE, Absol, Schoolboy Q, J-Rock, like,
now,
I really like the stuff they're doing.
Would you be able to tell any kind of influence on the new album from? No. So this is just strictly Fifth Child, just
this. Yeah, the album doesn't sound like anything that you'll hear today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've let several people hear the album, and you know, I asked them without any prompting. I asked them, you know, what does it sound like? What era does it sound like? And a lot of people have said like, oh yeah, it sounds like, you know, early 90s. It sounds like 94. You know, some people said some of the beats sound like Reasonable Doubt, but they hear that warmth that I was shooting for as far as like the Goody Mob and Outkast sort of thing. And as far as the samples and the drums that I'm using, they hear like the Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest influences. So yeah, this is definitely my interpretation of that sound, you know.
Now, talking about the whole storyline and the way it went, where did you find a lot of the inspiration for writing those songs? Because I mean, you know, it seems like a huge journey for this guy to go from point A to point B on the album.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. I most of my writing is heavily inspired by my life.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And it may not always be a direct interpretation of my life, but it's always inspired by either things that I've been through or things that I've seen, because music for me is my therapy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I really don't talk about feelings and stuff like that a lot, you know, just in conversation. But all of that comes out in my music, you know. So if you listen to it and really pay attention to my music, you understand a lot
Which,
about
I mean,
to
me, like, it's some of the best music that, I mean, when people are doing projects on, you know, life experiences and you're not centered around hooks or anything, I mean, that, you know, that music right there has longevity, in my opinion, you know. I still remember, you know, people in the past that actually talked about real life things that I can still pick up that same album today and listen to it from beginning to end.
Right.
So that's I can't wait for that project to come out. It's gonna be nice. Merchandise. So you got some merchandise out.
I do have merch. I have these wristbands. I don't know if they want to get a close up on them or anything like that. But I have these wristbands, Fifth Child, and then my Twitter on the back, at Fifth Child Music. I have T-shirts, and the T-shirts have this slogan that I kind of live by. It's "We ain't local, we just live here," because I never want to be regarded as a local hip hop artist. Like, you wouldn't call, you know, Jay-Z a local Brooklyn rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I consider myself independent, but not local. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of condescending to a degree. And so I have my T-shirts, I have wristbands, I have stickers, have promo CDs.
Well, we're going to come back and find out where people can pick up some of those things.
Okay.
But we're going to take a small break, and we'll be right back with Fifth Child.
Violator All-Star DJs.
Exposure TV, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. and Saturdays, 6:30 a.m. on Comcast Cable, Channel 18, Pad Network.
Welcome back to Exposure TV. I'm your host, Dvdj Rain, and we're sitting here with Fifth Child, and we were just talking about the merchandise that you have available, promotional stuff. I'm real big on the merchandise, so tell us again exactly what you got. I know you got bumper stickers, you got the promo bands. What else is there?
T-shirts, promo CDs, posters.
Posters. I didn't mean to say it like that. But okay, so where can people pick those up at?
For the most part, besides at shows, you know, they can pick them up at Morning Bell Records in Fondren.
Okay. You have any shows coming up?
The next show I have coming up is August 16th in New Orleans.
And where's that at? Like what?
What venue in New
Yeah.
Orleans? You know what? I actually have no idea.
No idea yet.
No, I have no idea.
I got
Not
it.
yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when?
August 16th.
August 16th. Where can people find some of like the older music that you put out? Because I mean, there's 5 more albums out there too.
Right. All the music is available at fifthchildmusic.bandcamp.com. It's always the number 5 childmusic.bandcamp.com. Also, the last 3 albums are available on iTunes and Amazon, Napster, Rhapsody, you know, all that good stuff. Really, if they just Google Fifth Child, like with the number 5 Fifth Child, then they'll find all the links to everything. There's stuff on YouTube, and actually, all the stuff on the Bandcamp page is available for free download.
Okay.
And what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, now I can tell you this part of the marketing plan because I already did it. But on my Facebook page, I've been just walking people through the previous releases and kind of explaining to everybody, you know, like where I was at that point in life, and you know, just reintroducing my back catalog to them.
Right.
Because the project that I'm about to release, Love Letters and Suicide Notes, will not be for free. You know, it will not be available for free. Because like I work really hard on everything I do, and like I told you, like I'm producing and mixing and mastering all this stuff myself, you know, and I invest a lot of time and money and energy into my craft, you know, and I've had people for years tell me like, why are you giving it away? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is really good. This is quality that we could pay for, but, you know, you're giving it away. And for so long, I didn't doubt myself, but I just doubted people's reaction to my music because I know what's popular. And my music doesn't really sound like what's popular on the radio right now.
Right.
You know, but I've been getting a lot of really good feedback, and I think I'm ready to do that. And it's the same thing with live performances. You know what I'm saying? I give my all into every show, whether it's 2 people in the audience or 2,000. You know, I put my heart into every show, but there's really a stigma attached to hip-hop music, especially in Jackson, where a lot of venues really don't, if they want to deal with you at all, you know, and have you perform, they definitely don't want to pay you. And so in return, you have other venues who are like, okay, well, you rap and you want to do a show, well, you have to pay to get on this showcase, or you have to pay to do this, you know, you have to rent out this venue. But I know of people in bands who are like in startup bands, you know what I'm saying, and they get money, they get paid, you know,
right
up front, they get guarantees to come perform. But hip-hop is kind of like the stepchild of music, especially in this market. And so if anything, I just want to with my career and with my music, I want to regain that dignity and let people know that this is a true art form, and we are professional, and we are, you know, very good. We're artists, not just rappers, but we're artists, you know what I'm saying? Hip-hop is a culture to be respected. So that's what I try to do with my music. So I won't be actually, I haven't even told anybody until right now, but I'm not going to be doing any free shows. If it doesn't have anything to do with like kids and some kind of charity, then I'm not just doing a show for free anymore.
Right. I mean, I don't blame you. I mean,
Yeah.
because I mean, you really worked your tail off. I mean, the past years. I mean, I'm still like in kind of awe with the, you know, the 6 albums. I mean, independent. I mean, that's, you know, that's more than, like we talked earlier, than some major label artists have out. And you know, you're doing this stuff by yourself. You know, your production and writing and all that. I mean, it's really an inspiring thing. Like, especially some of these, you know, up and coming young artists that,
Right.
you know, probably need to know, you know, what's the next step I need to do, or how do I need to handle this, you know. So the things that, you know, that we talked about in the interview, they, you know, they're going to help somebody out there, you know,
Yeah.
understand the process.
Right. 'Cause
My intern over there, she needs to understand that process
Right.
too. So.
'Cause I, like, above all, I just want to I want to really just pursue my art and my career, and I want to regain some credibility to the culture of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Leave
what,
it better than you let them.
Exactly. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Right.
Right.
That's great. Now, collaborations. I know you're open for collaborations. So if somebody wanted to collaborate with you, how would they get in contact with you?
Well, first of all, I mean, I'll do production for anybody. You know what I'm saying? I sell beats. So if they're interested in purchasing beats, then they can reach me at my Twitter page, which is at Fifth Child Music, or they can email me at fifthchildmusic@gmail.com.
And that's the number 5.
Always the number 5,
Right.
never spelled out fifth. Yeah, so the number 5 TH, Child Music. They can reach me that way. As far as collaborations, you know, like working with other artists, I'll be honest, I don't really just care to just work with any and everybody. You know what I'm saying? If there's an artist that I really respect, then I don't have any problem,
Right.
you know, doing music. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie and just say I just want to make music with everybody in the city, because I don't.
I understand that. One last thing before we got to go. Once again, give everybody your contact information.
Fifthchildmusic at gmail.com. That's the best way to reach me. Or at my Twitter page at fifthchildmusic.
Right. And one last thing, the community service. You were telling me some things earlier about what you have going on with the kids, and I'd really like for you to get that out.
Okay, I'll try to make it quick. But I teach music at an after-school club called Poindexter Park After School Club, and it's a couple of kids from Poindexter Elementary, and I teach them how to write songs. And I mean, so they write their own songs, and I make beats for them. They record the songs. Yeah, so I record them with my actual studio equipment, and then I mean they have videos on YouTube, and I've been doing this the past 2 years. So if you type in Poindexter Park After School Club on YouTube, then some of the videos that they've done, and they even shot the videos at Hal and Miles in the Red Room, so you can see some of the music that the kids have done. And, yeah, and so I also teach physical education at a couple of different places.
You know, that's one thing, like I told you earlier, that that stuck in my mind about you when we first met, you know, a few years back, was the way that you give back to the kids, and I think that's real important, especially like in your position, because you have that ability and that talent to teach them, you know, the right way to do things, and you know, if they want to pursue music, you know, because you're a really good example, you know, from the project that you've done and the way that you've handled yourself, you know, to interact with these kids and do projects like that. So I commend you for that.
Those are my 2 biggest passions, music and kids. So like I've always said, no matter how much I'm doing or how successful I become with music, I never want to stop working with kids altogether.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're out of time.
All right.
I appreciate you coming through.
Thank
It was
you.
a very, very informative and great interview. Keep me updated on everything that's going on. Make sure that you tune in for another episode of Exposure TV.
September 7th.
September 7th.
Love Letters and Suicide Notes.
Love Letters and
On
Suicide. iTunes, where else?
Local independent record store near you.
Right. And check them out, Fifth Child Music.